Social capital simply refers to the fact that there are features of our communities that are like that. That is, you, the same you, with the same tools, the same physical capital, and the same education, the same human capital, can be more productive in some sorts of communities or some sorts of organizations than you would be in an organization or in a community where there wasn't a network of social connectedness and a norm of trust and reciprocity. Social capital simply refers to the fact, in other words, that social networks have value. They have value for the people who are in them. There are lots of examples of that. One that is important to all of us is that most people in this room, including me, got their jobs more through whom they know than through what they know. I'm not talking about nepotism. I'm just talking about the fact that most of us learn about our jobs through some kind of connection. There's even an economist at the University of Chicago, that's where you'd expect it would be, who's calculated the dollar value of your Rolodex, which turns out to be, for everybody in this room, quite high. Actually, for most of us, the dollar value of, I hate to say this, especially the Kennedy School students here, but the dollar value of your Rolodex is a lot greater than the dollar value of all of your degrees, which is to say social capital has cash value. They have value not just to the people who are in them, and this is what makes social capital especially interesting. Social capital also, that is social networks, also have value for the bystanders, so to speak, the people who are not directly in the network. Again, there are many examples of how networks, social networks, have value for people who are not directly in them. Just to give a personal example, my wife Rosemary and I live in Lexington. We live in a community in which there's a lot of connectedness. People have picnics and barbecues and so on. And we know perfectly well social networks are a strong predictor of low crime rates. The best predictor of crime is, for example, how many neighbors know one another's first name. So because of the social network, little neighborhood in Lexington, Rosemary and I are both able to be here tonight quite confident that our house is not going to be broken into because of all the social capital. Now that's true even though, and it's now a time for true confession, I actually don't myself go to those picnics and barbecues. I spend most of my time on the road. Rosemary sometimes goes, but I'm a complete free rider with respect to the social capital, but nevertheless I can benefit from it. And so all I've really just finished saying is that social networks have externalities. They have benefits for people who are not necessarily in them. One of the reasons that social networks have these external effects is that social networks turn out to be empirically associated with norms of reciprocity. And reciprocity simply means I'll do this for you now without expecting anything immediately back from you, because down the road he'll do something for me and you'll do something for him and we're all connected. Norm of reciprocity is enormously valuable. You know, that's sort of a $10 word. Actually, the best definition of social capital comes from a philosopher in New York City that some of you will have heard of, Yogi Berra, who said, if you don't go to somebody's funeral, they won't come to yours.